Okay, so Seaweed Film says hi, hello everyone. So we are back doing the game engine live coding stuff, thingy-majiggy. This is part 18, part 7 of the gestures. I'm going to be working on gestures today. So before I get reading the book, I'll give you this overview of what we're planning on doing today. Should be doing an advent of code 2020 day 4 as well. So we're gonna, in the gestures, want to make it so the gesture that we've currently got, which is, that's not it. Let me open up the recent one. So this gesture that we've currently got, which where you go left and then go like 25% of the way along on a circular motion around the edge. We want to make that work so it works on the other analog stick as well. I don't see that being much of an issue. Once that's done, we can look into implementing the others as well. So let me do a quick update on here. Do black. 11 days. Clearly the best one that you've ever seen. Okie dokie. So as we have been doing for the last few 2-3 streams, gonna be reading the, let me move that the way. We are gonna be reading this. The third edition of the Game Engine Architecture by Jason Gregory, who's the lead, might be higher up than that now, lead programmer at Naughty Dog. So, you know, Uncharted, Last of Us, those games. And this book is legendary. So just reading one page turn every day at the start. So that way I get through it, you know, share a bit of the knowledge as well. One page turn, you know, just basically one page turn. No matter how hard or easy that page turn is or how long it is, it's a page turn, which is equivalent of 2 pages. Okay, so I'm going to go on to there. It's a bit brighter. Okay, so section 4.7.3, starvation. Starvation is defined as any situation in which one or more threads fail to receive any execution time on the CPU. Starvation can happen when one or more higher priority threads fail to relinquish control of the CPU, thereby preventing lower priority threads from running. Live lock is another kind of starvation, in which a deadlock resolution algorithm effectively starves all threads of their ability to do real work. Priority-based starvation is normally avoided by ensuring that high priority threads never run for very long. Ideally, a multi-threaded program would consist of a pool of lower priority threads that normally share the system's CPU resources fairly. Once in a while, a higher priority thread runs, takes care of its business quickly, and then ends returning CPU resources to the lower quality threads. Okay, section 4.7.4, priority inversion. Mutex locks can lead to a situation known as priority inversion, in which a low priority thread acts as though it is the highest priority thread in the system. Consider 2 threads, L and H, with a low and high priority, respectively. Thread L takes a mutex lock and then is preempted by H. If H attempts to take this same lock, then H will be put to sleep because L already holds the lock. This permits L to run even though it is a lower priority than H, in violation of the principle that lower priority threads should not run while a higher priority thread is runnable. Priority inversion can also occur if a medium priority thread M preempts thread L while it is holding a lock needed by H. In this case, L goes to sleep while M runs, preventing it from releasing the lock. When H runs, it is therefore unable to obtain the lock. It goes to sleep, and now M's priority has effectively been inverted with that of thread H. The consequences of priority inversion may be negligible. For example, if the lower priority thread immediately relinquishes the lock, the duration of the priority inversion may be short and it may go unnoticed or produce only minor ill effects. However, in extreme cases, priority inversion can lead to deadlock or other kinds of system failure. For example, priority inversion can cause a high priority thread to miss a critical deadline. Solutions to the priority inversion problem include voiding locks that can be taken by both low and high priority threads. This solution is often not feasible. Assigning a very high priority to the mutex itself. Any thread that takes the mutex has its priority temporarily raised to that of the mutex, thus ensuring it cannot be preempted while holding the lock. Random priority boosting. In this approach, threads that are actively holding locks are randomly boosted in priority until they exit their critical sections. This approach is using the Windows scheduling model. Kusa Half-Life 1 says, an emoji, it's like a face that's gone like that, and he's got a thumbs up, got fingers or whatever. Okay, let's have a little drink. Okay, so we're almost done with this page turn, and then we'll start the coding. Section 4.7.5, the dining philosophers. The famous dining philosophers problem, a little problem, I like these philosophical problems, is a great illustration of the problems of deadlock, live lock, and starvation. It describes a situation in which 5 philosophers sit around a circular table, each with a plate of spaghetti in front of her. Between each philosopher sits a single chopstick. The philosophers wish to alternate between thinking, which they can do without any chopsticks, and eating, a task for which a philosopher requires 2 chopsticks. The problem is to define a pattern of behavior for the philosophers that ensure that they can all alternate between thinking and eating without experiencing deadlock, live lock, or starvation. Obviously, the philosophers represent threads and the chopsticks represent mutex locks. I'll have to look into this philosophical problem a bit more. Sounds interesting. You can read about this well-known problem online, so we won't devote a lot of space to discussing it here. It's a shame. However, it will be instructive to consider a few of the most common solutions to the problem. Global order. A dependency cycle can occur if a philosopher were always to pick up the chopstick to her left first, or always the one to her right. One solution to this problem is to assign each chopstick a unique global index. Whenever a philosopher wishes to eat, he or she always picks up the chopstick with the lowest index first. This prevents the dependency cycle and hence avoids deadlock. Central arbiter. In this solution, a central arbiter, the waiter, either grants a philosopher 2 chopsticks or none. This avoids the hold and wait problem by ensuring that no philosopher ever gets into a situation in which he or she holds only 1 chopstick, thereby preventing deadlock. Clandra Misra. In this solution, chopsticks are marked either dirty or clean, and the philosophers send each other messages requesting chopsticks. So you can read more about this solution by searching for Chandi Misra online instead of Chandra. Search it. We've done the page turn. We'll just finish this little few more sentences off, and then this whole 4.7 section will be done. Okay, N-1 philosophers. For a table with n philosophers and n chopsticks, an integer semaphore can be used to limit the number of philosophers who are permitted to pick up chopsticks at any given time to n-1. This solves the deadlock and live lock problems, because even in degenerate situations, at least 1 philosopher will succeed in obtaining 2 chopsticks. It does, however, permit one of the philosophers to starve unless an additional fairness criterion is introduced. Okay, so we've done a page turn, and slowly but surely we will get through this and complete the engine as well at the same time. Or I guess the engine will never be completed, but it'll really be at a state where it is usable. That's more the goal with the engine. Okay, so thank you for waiting patiently while I read that, and now it is time for some coding. Okay, so let's open up. Have you used the Godot engine before? I've checked it out a little bit. I haven't used it extensively, no. Okay, so let's open up the project. So we're in okay, so let's let this open up, and then we're going to make it so we can use both analog sticks. And let's turn this on. Should be solid by now. It is now. It took a second or two longer than I was expecting. Maybe it's the right time, but still longer than I was expecting. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, so it's on different analog sticks. I'm going to pass it into the constructor. So what we want to do is we're going to have left or right analog stick, and we'll say enum left. No, I feel like in joystick we may have had something like that anyway. Yeah, analog stick, we've already got that. So I'm just trying to think, is it worth redeclaring enums in different classes? I'm gonna have to Google that if it's worth doing it or not. Redeclaring enums in different classes. But then it's just like, if you're not going to declare it, if you're going to reuse it, I guess probably best not to put it in the class itself. You see, with the joystick, it may have, it may be a different type of analog stick that we end up using. So I'm gonna have an extra one, just because again, it may slightly refer to different stuff. So we can here, we can, what was it? We could comment this by, I can't remember, what was it? Can't remember what it was to comment it. Was it document method? Which, oh, it's not a method, so that's really, it's not coming up. Analog stick direction. I wasn't gonna comment this last time, but I've done it now anyway. Okay, so we're gonna say that in the gesture constructor, you also pass in a const, and it's gonna be analog stick analog stick How you finding Godot then, Team Plus? Okay, so analog stick, and we're going to copy that and paste it. And we're also going to have a version of the analog stick here. So we're going to get rid of that, get rid of the const, get rid of that, have that, and we're going to comment this bad boy. Analog stick to analog stick to set. Stick to check gesture with. I think we should have some to do. So let's say a getter and a getter and a setter for analog stick. We need, I'm going to say we're going to have one for the ID as well. Getter and setter for the joystick ID. And the reason we're going to do this is for the simple reason it allows us to potentially reuse this class for other, what's that one money about now? Oh yeah, for other gestures. If it's been used up, we could reuse it. That's the reason we're doing it. Okay, so let's give this a build. Dingen says, hello, what language is you coding in? I am coding in C++, built on top of the SFML framework. Okie dokie. What's this moaning about? Oh, yeah. The enum isn't inside the class. What about in joystick? It is inside the class. Should I? Yeah, realistically should move it into it, shouldn't I? I'm gonna move both of these into them. We get some errors. Let's see. Ooh, got a fair few errors. Let's build that. Okay. good luck on your project. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. This is not doable this way. Let's just undo it. Put it there, blah blah blah. We don't need. Oh, we can just put that. What would happen if I whacked this out of it? Okay, let's build that. Let's see what we get. See if we fixed all the errors. Those are warnings, but don't care about them. Okay, so fix the. I just want to actually make sure it's still working. So we are gonna. We got the update. We are also gonna say is complete. So gonna print out the is complete. Bool is now it's gesture is complete. Okay, so it still works. Great, fantastic, yay, 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 yay. Okay, so we're gonna create the getters and the setters for the analog stick. That shouldn't take too long, so we'll do the setter first. So void set stick. I'm gonna put set analog stick. Nope, don't want to do it here. And we'll copy this. Okay, so we got the analog stick in there. We're gonna need the getter as well. So we're gonna say it's gonna be a return of get analog stick. There's gonna be no method in there. It's gonna be a const, so we can't actually, you know, do anything dodgy in there. Okay, so we should just be able to copy this, paste them here, and we're going to say underscore. Why it didn't appear? It didn't appear because I haven't put it within the, for starters that's a splash state, so don't want it here anyway. And 2, I didn't put it within the gesture class identifier. Let me put gesture and hello herdingens. I did see the message, I forgot to say hey. Okay, so we're gonna say underscore analog stick equals analog stick, and I forgot one other thing here. The analog stick, I need to put say underscore analog stick. Okay, so now we need to actually return this. This is going to be return underscore analog stick. Build that, should get no errors. Yeah, that error has disappeared. Fantastic. So we're going to quick action, document the method. No, we don't want to do that. Well, how do we do the documentation again? What was it? Oh no, I type it in, don't I? Comment with no return or parameters. No, it ain't that. It's comment with parameters but no return type, and the parameter is analog stick. Analog stick for gesture, and this is going to be set the analog stick. Yeah, I forgot all about that / colon no, colon / asterisk. So this is a return type, comment with return type and no parameters, returns the analog stick of the gesture, returns the gestures analog stick, get the current analog stick, and we got that done. We'll copy and paste these, and we'll do it for the joystick ID as well. So we'll say int joystick ID, and this is going to be set joystick ID, get joystick ID, returns the joystick ID, get the current joystick ID, the ID of the current joystick, set the joysticks ID, and this needs to be an int. We're going to say gesture, I want to say underscore joystick ID equals joystick ID, and we're going to say return underscore Okay, before you implement these, do the following. Right click on the function name and go to quick create implementation. No nice feature of create implementation. Or was it, what was I meant to do? What was he saying? Right click on the function name, go to quick create implementation is Not there. It's like, I don't see where you're. Help me out with that. Let's build it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is actually work on the oh, you mean if it's not implemented? So if I do like that, quick action, create implementation, boom, done. Yeah, I like that. I like that indeed. Obviously, that's all done. Helps a lot. And can I, let's say, can I select multiple? Like, can I select both of these and go like, nah, I have to do it individually. It's not the end of the world. That feature is cool, man. Thanks for, you know, suggesting these for different analog sticks. So we gotta update it for the different analog sticks now. So we've got left and right analog stick, and the left stick, right stick. Currently we don't even use any of that stuff. Is left stick, right stick. So it's that left stick, right stick, it would be used here. So the axes would change. That is literally the only difference. Yeah, I'm new to the series. I was here yesterday, but can you give me a rough explanation about what the goals are of the series? Herdingens, do you want to, you know, try and help out Mr. One Space 2? Okay, so that's pretty cool. Pretty cool feature. Okay, so I do which putting my phone on charge. I will do that now. Jeff, is that your name? I was hoping Mr. Herdingens would have assisted explaining the project as a moderator. I thought he would have. Oh yeah, there we go. Her is helping out. Okay, so interesting indeed. Okay, so the analog sticks. I noted them somewhere. What the analog stick situation was. A, B, X, Y. No, those are the buttons. Nope. Where would I have noted it down? Yeah, so her's right. It's just about having framework and engine that we can easily create other games. You know, because the problem I face, and I think a lot of the developers face, is you have an idea, you want to test it out, and ideally that idea should only take a few hours, maybe a few days to implement. We're not talking about a full-fledged game. It might be just some sort of little gameplay thing, but you just want to implement that. If it's something that should only take 2-3 hours, I don't want to have to spend an extra 2-3 hours doing environment setup, having to do project setup, having to do, you know, classes for game features that are generic, like gestures, for example. I might have an idea about some game with gestures. This is taking a while, but once it's implemented, it's implemented. These sort of gestures really aren't. It's 9 SFML, it's 9 SDL, it's 9 COCOS. I can't say for certain if it's in Unreal or not. I feel like it probably is because of how big the engine is, but that's overkill for this. So, no, not like Pygame, I wouldn't say. Like, I've checked out Pygame before. If we look at the features of Pygame, then I could be mistaken. See, like Pygame, based on the features that I'm looking there, they simply look like the features that SFML provide. See, I wouldn't call this a game engine. I would call this a game more like a framework, like SFML. Whereas what I'm doing is building on top of like this with game-like features. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be, you know, pretty sick. So let me know. Let me know. Not let me know. You know, just stay tuned and it'll be pretty darn amazing. Okay, so the analog stick. I'm trying to figure out what was the analog stick situation. These are the sticks. X and Y is what we've just used. I think it's... I'm gonna have to figure this out again. Don't have to do it splash state. I'm gonna have to create a joystick. No, I don't really need to create one, do I? Because they are thingamajiggy. You know, static. So I'm going to say std : cout joystick : get axis position. We're going to pass in, I think we have to pass in which axis we're dealing with. So we're passing in the joystick first. So it's, I know it's number 1. We're passing in no feature I want to implement. Predefined controller types, yes, it's sort of linked with that. Auto detection of all available joysticks / controllers and identify them. Damn, that's sexy. Can you tell me about this game engine you are making? Do you want to help out Mr. Artyom Matevosian? Clearly pronounced that name 100% correct. No mistakes. Okay, so I was doing this, and in here I needed the joystick axis. It's, I think it's R and U for the right hand analog stick. working, at least for the Xbox controller. It might not be the case for the PlayStation controller. That's the thing. Test for PlayStation controller. PS3, PS4. I could do PS5 technically as well. I could check that out, see if it connects. I know there was issues initially, unless you was going for something like Steam, which I'm not fussed about that. Fancy features. That's a nice way of putting it. Okay, so we'll get in this. I feel like I didn't copy all of it. No, I did not. And let's put joystick here and see what we get. That's red buff, and that should disappear. Nope, that did not. It is undefined apparently. Oh, I accidentally. No, it's right here. Just some Visual Studio rubbish issue, wasn't it? It's not picking anything up. Get axis position. R and R, obviously not R and R. So U, R and U. Oh, the controller was off. Oh, I've got to be on the actual. I keep forgetting I need to be on this. So U is the equivalent of the x-axis. Write that down. U equals U, not V. U equals X, and R equals Y. So those are the equivalents that we can now go. Quote of the day, philosophy quotes on my phone. The meaning of science is not fixed, but is dynamic. As science has evolved, so has its meaning. I think that's like a lot of things in life. You got to be adaptable. You got to be, on the move, willing to go with the wind. Okay, so if we now check, what was we gonna do? Oh yeah, so we want to make it so we have the second gesture. The second gesture, the second stick. So left stick, right stick. We get that passed in, and we assign that up here. So we've got that here. When you're talking about game engine live features, do you mean like physics, making, setting colliders? Yeah, like we're going to put physics in there. We've got some physics little system. I haven't looked at this VA outline really, to be fair. Let's have a look at this again. It's pretty cool, to be fair. Okay, Solution Explorer. Okay, so if we go, we do have the physics. Where is it? Physics wheel. What is it? And so yeah, we've got some physics stuff. This is stuff I adapted from some open source code ages ago, and it's built on top of Box 2D. So again, that's another thing. Box 2D is a fantastic system. If you look at Box 2D, so have a look at this Box 2D. So if we try and find a demo, like one of the best, his stuff is good. The coding train, Box 2D. Let's go on videos.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game from Scratch, and today we're talking about Box 2D. Now this is something that requires...
Jesus, I'm pretty sure that's not on... Jesus, I wonder what that sounds like at 2 times speed. Yeah, I'll go and listen to that 2 times speed. So I usually watch, when it's educational stuff, I usually watch it at 2 times speed, or listen to like podcasts or audiobooks at 2 times speed or even more. But
hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game from Scratch, and today we're talking about Box 2D. Now this is something that requires no introduction. So here is an introduction. Box 2D, open source 2D physics engine. Chances are, if you're using a game engine that does 2D physics, it's probably using Box 2D behind it.
I can understand that, but man, I have to concentrate. I couldn't do that passively.
Scenes. This was actually written by Aaron Kato, hopefully I pronounced that right. He was a programmer at Blizzard. Command prompt. In this case, I pulled all of our code from the command line solution file. There are ways I can't see it. So that is what Box Programmer example that are never awake. So
have you done any new tutorials? Oh yeah, yes. Ray tracing on Vulkan. Okay. Okay, so like to implement stuff like this actually in code, it's not that simple. There's quite a bit of just sort of setup-y stuff that you gotta do. It's like the engine on the core level is great, and the thing is, I'm pretty sure it's not written in C++, written in C. So you can do it in C, you can do it in C++, and I think the Java version as well. That's partly what makes it so good. You can you can put it into a variety of stuff. But when it's at low level, it also means it's not that quick and easy. I just want it in there. It's like Cocos 2DX has physics built in. And they used to be built on top of Box 2D. They are built on top of the Chipmunk physics system. Now, I still prefer the Box over Chipmunk, but figure out that. But it's built in so that you can do some pretty cool physics without having to worry about the Box 2D or the Chipmunk, implementation. That's the sort of features we'll be putting in there, and other stuff as well. Yeah, I'll do that. Watching education videos at faster speeds. Yeah, it obviously depends what it is. Depends on what I'm trying to get out of it. But a lot of time, I find the instructor does speak slowly. I try and speak slowly on my videos as well, so I can get this sort of pace. And for a newbie or a beginner, it is a lot easier to basically follow along. But obviously I don't speak like that at normal speed. That's not my normal speed, so I do speed it up. And again, it depends on what I'm trying to get out of it. And because if, let's say, I've probably got 95% of the knowledge and I just need that little bit extra, that's a little different. If I'm a total noob, then I may not. So you can just see the sort of stuff that they're doing. That's pretty cool. But I have ideas sometimes of physics stuff that I would like to check out like this, just try and have a go at. But I don't want to spend hours just trying to do some sort of physics layer in code class. That's not for the game, but it's for more of the engine. That's the stuff that I want to achieve with the engine. But again, physics is on the list. I will get around to it. Okay, so the stick is U is X, R is Y. And if I go to the gesture... Yeah, so what I'm going to say... I'm going to have... I'm literally going to put joystick axis X axis, and we're going to do for the y axis and so brief ID of the joystick now, x-axis of the joystick, y-axis of the joystick. Let's capitalize these bad boys, and we're gonna say if analog stick if it equals joystick, no, it's the analog stick here, analog stick, left stick, then it's the X and Y stuff, so it's literally underscore equals and we'll do the same for the Y, but it'll be Y say else if, even though there's only left and right sticks at the moment, we might have some sort of central stick. You know, we might do something that's kind of like a N64 controller, that's a central stick, but you might have left and right as well. So that's the reason we are literally going to put this, do the check for the right analog stick. What is your day job, or am I at university? Not at university anymore, finished back in 2014. It feels like a long time ago, and in many ways it doesn't. My day job is running my business, so I don't have like a regular day job, either stacking shelves or coding at some company. I don't do that. I do bits and pieces here and there. So I do some of the YouTube stuff, some Udemy stuff that brings in a little bit of money, and entrepreneurial wheeling and dealing, anything to keep me out of a typical 9 to 5. I do some work at a local college as well, but that's a bit more on my own sort of, it's not like it's not like a typical sort of teaching position. So it's actually a very interesting role. I work one-on-one with a blind student. He has visual impairments, and I'm teaching in computer science, so that's very, very interesting. So I'm basically his computer science teacher, but I don't have like a typical sort of role there. So that's currently remote. But again, it's just little bits here and there, whatever I can do to stay out of a 9 to 5, all whilst trying to, I know some people are more than happy with just a little bit. I'm not. I want to, it's like that, scene from Scarface, the world, when he says it's coming to me, and Chico says what? The world, Chico, and everything in it. That's how I feel. I'm just like, I want it all. I want it all. So not only are you seeing the journey of making a game engine, you're seeing the journey of the world's first self-made trillionaire in the making. Yes, I used the word T. Got to get to M, B, and then T. I will do it. Don't worry. But for now, let's just deal with the gestures. What happened there? Okay, so what I'm going to do is copy this gesture update into Sublime, and I'm going to say where did I see this Y one? Find all. And it's underscore Y axis. Now find all the X ones. Find all underscore X axis. Copy that. And paste it. So I'm pretty sure I did set it so it was the left stick. So let me check if this is still working the way I want it to. Blah 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 blah. Let's check. Here we go. Okay, that's still working, which is great. I can't test the right analog stick unless I change this. Okay, let's let's test the right analog stick now. Does seem to work. I want to run it again though, because obviously the first time I'm doing it on the right analog stick. Need to grab that. You have to be very fine with the movement. Is it the timing? No, I don't think it's the timing. Yeah, no, that wasn't a right stick issue. I was having that with the left stick as well. Let's look into that. Yeah, you have to be very precise with the movement. So I'll get rid of vector. Don't want to be changing stuff in here. So this is the vector class. So, we use vectors or, features like that, and we just take for granted. And it's implemented using thousands of lines of code like this. This sort of stuff just makes me excited. Look how cool this looks. Zishan Ahmed says yo. Yo, Zishan. Where I'm going to go is in here. I'm going to I'm basically going to say in here, I'm just going to do a print and std : cout underscore loop counter Okay, so what's 0 getting printed off as? That's not gonna make things easy for seeing, but I need to comment this out. I need to rerun it. Control Shift F5. So 0. So the first two run fine and easily. It is the second, either the second or the third one, or the second, or let me see, the third one, the second index, or the third one, or the fourth one, which is these right here, -45, -45, direction right. Is that right? Let me have a look. I've got it. And 0 and -100. So look. Oh yeah, it's very close to it. That's fine. So the way we're doing the checks. So if it's direction right, so what about it does it not like? So it's just a bit, you just have to be super precise with it. Actually, I think it's the timing more than anything. I think the time is just lapsing. So if I do this at 0.5, 0.5, so let's say the first part you have more time, the second part you have first part of it you have less time, the second part of it, like the curve, you have more time. Let's have a look. Yeah, that works better. I think we could probably tweak that a bit more. Instead of try 0.35. I feel like on the curve you'll slow down a bit more. That's working better. So it was a timing issue, we fixed that. I'm going to change this to right stick, make sure it is still working the same on the right stick, and then see what's what. I think 0.35 might be a bit too little time. Yeah, I'm gonna change it to yep, that works well. Oh yeah, so got the left and right stick done. So it doesn't really matter what stick, because this function, the update stuff is looking very dynamic. Little to no hard coded values at all. Looking nice. Oh yeah. Another thing I want to change is when we set the analog stick, we need to do that same check here. we need to do this check there. And you know what I'm gonna do, I'm literally I'll do underscore. Instead of actually, what I'm actually just gonna do is if I go to end, I'm gonna delete this. I'm just gonna call that method because that will basically do it for us. So if I say set analog stick, I'll say analog stick, that should still work the same way. No errors. Let's run it. Let's see what we get. Set joystick ID. There's no checks on that sort of thing yet. Okay, so that's working now. Good stuff. Okay, so for different analog sticks, so we go implement the remaining gestures now. So what time are we looking at? How are we doing for time? It's been an hour. Okay, so what's the advent of code for today? I'll have a look at the advent of code now, because we've made progress. The next part is the next gestures anyway. We'll look at some advent of code. We'll build this, give this a commit. I'm gonna keep GitHub pinned. Do use it a fair bit. Don't use origin that much, so I can get rid of that. Need to bang through control. Yeah. I'm in Tyrozovsky. Says hi. Hello, Amin. Okay, so what we're gonna do. I'm expecting a message from somebody. Okay, so it is project XYZ gesture class implemented right. So I'm gonna let that commit, and let's have a look at the advent of code. Day 4. Okay, you arrive at the airport passport processing, only to realize that you grabbed your North Pole credentials instead of your passport. All these documents are extremely similar. North Pole credentials aren't issued by a country and therefore aren't actually valid documentation for travel in most of the world. Burp, Funky Junkie said burp. Yeah, I can burp on command. It seems like you're not the only one having problems. There were a very long line has formed for the automatic passport scanners, and the delay could upset your travel itinerary. Due to some questionable network security, you realize you might be able to solve both of these problems at the same time. The automatic passport scanners are slow because they're having trouble detecting which passports have all required fields. The expected fields are birth year, issue year, expiration year, height. Delphine passports usually have that. Hair color, eye color, passport ID, country ID, and then there's little. It looks like I want to say acronyms. They're a form of abbreviation. They look like initialisms. BYR, IYR. Okay. Passport data is validated in batch files. Your puzzle input. Each passport is represented as a sequence of key value pairs separated by colon, separated by spaces or new lines. Passports are separated by blank lines. Okay, yeah, I see what they mean. Here is an example. So yeah, because it's not always in the same order. Like we got ECL, which is the eye color there, but ECL is the second one there. ECL isn't on to the third line. I'm getting there. Okay, the first passport is valid. All 8 fields are present. Second passport is invalid. It is missing HGT. The third passport is interesting. And the only missing field is CID, so it looks like data from North Pole credentials, not a passport at all. Surely nobody would mind if you made the system temporarily ignore missing CID fields. Treat this passport as valid. The fourth passport is missing 2 fields, CID and BYR. Missing CID is fine, but missing any other field is not, so this passport is invalid. According to the above rules, your improved system would report 2 valid passports. So the first one was the second one, but the last 2 would not be. Count the number of valid passports that those that have all valid fields. Treat CID as optional in your batch for how many passports are valid. Okay, so that's very interesting. What we could do, I'm gonna copy that. I can't see this taking long at all, you know. I think this is gonna be pretty darn quick. Copy that. We're going to put that in here. And what I want to do. Okay. Copy the new line. Find all. No, not that new line. We want this new line. So it's the new line where find all. I'll put commas. PID. So if I put exclamation mark, comma, and that's all of them done. It's just literally a matter of the last on the end ones here. The only other thing is ideally would like it all on one line. That's a pretty simple solution, to be fair. You know, actually instead of that, if I just do a check for colon, which should be every single line, go to home, I think that should be the entire input now. So, like, ready to go. So if we open up the other project, open up, where is it recently closed? The Advent. Again, gonna make sure that the Advent, so we're at 22, probably about half past when we started. Let's check the Advent code, make sure day 3 is on here, and we got puzzle 2 and 1 as well. If that's on there, puzzle 1, it can easily be adapted from that one anyway. Okay, so let's go back here, let's bang this out. Make sure we still don't get any errors. Those aren't errors, those are... Yes, okie dokie. So I'm gonna get rid of that. Get rid of that. We're not gonna call it forest, we're gonna say passport. For some reason my computer has decided to, or no, not the computer, Visual Studio has decided to start slowing down. Save that, let's just reopen it. So they know the computer is running fine. CPU usage is okay, that a bit of a spike there, but you get that. And memory, we got plenty of RAM. If it's that in use compressor, yeah, I'm gonna say if anything it's on the low end of usage. So let me just open up Advent 2020, the solution. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we was doing this and passport. I think the reason why it's so slow is because of this. This is ridiculous. Is it ridiculously long? Have I not had longer ones? I feel like I've had longer ones. It's only on that line actually. That's not too bad then. I think it's only on that line. No. Oh, see, that is running like terrible. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it here and in here. Yeah, I think that is messing it up. So what I would do instead is just have some, you know, simple one for now, and then I'll paste it in when I want to run it. Be easier that way. Okay, so passports. We're getting. No, we don't need any of that. Don't need a Y shift. It'll just be a matter of an I++. That'll be very simple. And we are going to say so I'm also going to create an array of std : string required fields. And the required fields were it's all of these. So I've copied them, paste them into Visual Studio, and you know what? I ain't gonna paste them into Visual Studio. I'll handle it in Sublime. Easier if I just handle it in here. Nope. That's not what I wanted to do. And okay, so now let's grab that. Boom, done. Copy, paste. Yeah, you can handle that length of stuff. Let's build that. That should still be working. Okay, so let me have a look at something. Okay, so what we're gonna do is so we need to go through every single field. So if I was to just get like if I just got an example one like this one, and I put it in here just so I can see the format of like one. So they're all separated by spaces now. That's cool. There are spaces. So I want to go, so each one, I'll get each one. So I'll have each passport. Then over each passport, I want to what's the best way to do this? This could potentially get messy. Let's try to think what's the best way. If let's say I loop over the actual passport itself. So if I do int j equals 0, j less than passports I dot size, so we're looping over the entire passport, and j plus plus, and then we're going to say when we hit a colon, every time we hit a colon, and say if passports I dot at j, if that is equal to a colon character, then we basically need the first three characters, you know, before it. So then we're going to have the first three characters. So we'll create a std colon colon string, and this is going to be called field equals, can I concatenate with the plus? I can't remember. I don't think it's the comma, I think it is plus. With no, I'm gonna have to have a quick Google. C++ string concatenation. Is it an actual method or what? Yeah. Apparently we can do that. So why ain't he letting me do it then? I don't know. Let's try this. Yeah. Don't see why that ain't working. I'll say you should be able to concatenate as many as you want. Let's run it, see if we get any errors in this. So we get errors. Can we only do it if one is... So we run that, that should probably work. If I was to run it like this, does that mean we can only have one actual thing and then one non-thing? I think we need an actual string first. That's not the end of the world, to be fair. That's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna put, I'll put std colon colon string. Actually, can I do this with a char? So if I do char, or instead, can I maybe do this? Can I not do that? Oh, or do they need to be... Will that work? If that works, that's exactly what I want anyway. That's exactly what I want. So we're gonna say passports. No, we need to get the individual passport. We'll just make it easier. If I say std colon colon string passport equals You know what? I probably could just do one of those auto ones here. So if I just put auto passport, passports. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. C++ loop. It's a type of for loop. C++ auto loop, or what's it called? I can't remember what the actual range-based loop. That's what it's called. And see, when you see websites like that, they just look more confusing than anything. They end up confusing you. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so passport, passports, and here we would literally just put passport now. Passport, and we're literally going to say passport, and so this is going to be passport spelled correctly dot at, and this is going to be whatever it currently is, j minus 1 2 3 321, and that will get us the ID. So now that's got us the field ID, I guess. Yeah, it's the field ID. Now what we are going to just basically say is, now that we got the field ID, we are going to need to loop through the required field. So for auto field required fields and we are literally just going to say if field equals field ID this isn't the most elegant of solutions. We're gonna say, and we're gonna also say, and field ID does not equal. Actually, no. I'm gonna miss out CID. That is optional anyway. With the optional with CID as mandatory. Is it mandatory? Is it like Mando from? No, it's not Mando from Mandalorian. Good show, Mandalorian, not mandatory. Okay, so if it equals that, well, we are literally just gonna say int valid passports equals 0, and for each passport we're gonna say int valid fields equals 0. We're gonna say valid fields plus, and we'll literally say at the end, after we check the passport itself, if valid fields is greater than or equal to the required fields dot size, then I'm going to say valid passports plus, and we'll also, now which I'm guessing it's done, we should say there there are X amount of valid passports, and I'm going to say, and there are, let's say, 10 valid passports, and invalid passport. No, we won't do that. We'll say passports. You know what? I'm gonna put in here. I'm gonna say int. This can just be a const int. Invalid passports equals passports dot size. Why is that? Well, I don't want that. Oh, weird. Oh no, we can't do that. It's array size, number of pieces. Do we even need to do that? I don't think so. Array size minus valid passports, and there are and invalid passports. Invalid passports. Okay, so I'll run it with just the one passport, see what happens. Apparently that's a valid passport. Let's see. Is BYR here? IYR here? Is EYR here? Is HGT here? Is HCL here? Is ECL here? And PID, yes. Okay, so if this works, this does have a major flaw. Because I haven't checked, obviously, all the other passports. If the other passports essentially have, let's say, multiple ECLs, this could flag it as a valid passport. So again, I'm not checking. I could just do a bunch of if statements. There's a few other ways I could get around that, but that is fine. And like if I was to say delete this from there and I'll run that should flag it as an did that still flag it as valid? Even though I deleted a field that we need. Let me try doing this. So I've deleted a fair bit of it now. There are one valid passport. Apparently they're still valid. Apparently that's still coming up as a valid passport. Okay, so Oh, that's how we get the array size. Const passport array size, and this is going to be passport. There are a bunch of vectors. If they were vectors, that would be different. That's an invalid passport now. Do you still have the deleted fields in there? Can't remember. No. Apparently it's invalid. Let's say the only check we need to do is PID. Still invalid apparently. Okay, so I probably could do with printing out some stuff here. Oh no, we don't want to do it on the. We want to do it on the required fields, don't we? We want to say. Field array size. Copy that, paste that. Taking a lot longer than I was expecting. Let me run that. It should hopefully one valid passport. So let's say if I was to delete this one, which is a required field, this should put it as invalid now. That is invalid. That's good. Let's say if I was to delete the CID, which is not required, that is only optional. How does that work now? What happened? That is still valid. Okay, so what we're going to do now is run it with the Jesus Christ. I don't know how this is even going to end up being. Copy that over to here. Let's give this a run now. That went quick. There are 239 valid passports and 54 invalid passports. Okay, so they wanted to know how many valid passports there was. Is that what they wanted to know? Okay. Count the number of valid passports. Let's put it in. 239. Dun dun dun. So this took about half an hour if this is correct. That is the right answer. So part 2. Part 2 is usually always pretty easy. At least that's what I've found so far. That might not be the case. This is a pretty long one now. Okay. The line is moving more quickly now. But you over here, Airport Security, talking about how passports with invalid data are getting through. Better add some data validation. Oh, this is where it's going to get difficult quick. You can continue to ignore the CID field, thankfully, but each other field has strict rules about what values are valid for automatic validation. So birth year, 4 digits, at least 1920 and at most 2002. Issue year, blah blah blah. Expiration year, blah blah blah. Height is a number followed by either CM or IN. If it's CM, the number must be at least. There's a lot of checks here. Followed by exactly 6 characters, 0 to 9, A to F, exactly one of. Okay, so I'm not going to do that now because that is a fair bit more, longer. So I'll probably do puzzle 2 tomorrow. So I'm going to just build this one more time. And I'm going to commit it. Commit the code. So if I go over to GitHub, the GitHub folder, no, it's in the Adventure code, day 3, puzzle 1, rename that to main. Okay, so here we go, and day 4, puzzle 1, puzzle 2 still to be completed. Commit, push, that should take mere seconds, it won't take very long. Okay, so we did that puzzle, and I don't know if we're going to do any more code on the project itself. We can open it up though, see what's what. Close this one down. Okay, so we was on, I was gonna test it for PlayStation controllers. Oh, I'll do that testing right now. So let me connect up a PS4 controller. I'll get out a PS4, a PS3, and a PS5 controller. So PS3, this is a DualShock 6-axis one, not that that really matters. We need a mini USB cable. You will have one in here. There we go. Okay, so let's connect this up. Yeah, that's the right way around, I believe. And in we go, in like Flynn. Check a pin. We connected the controller. May not detect it. We may need to set this up. What is it? The PS3 controller is the SCP we need for PS3 controller. SCP toolkit. Do I not have SCP installed? No. Must have uninstalled it. How old is this one? There's a couple online, and there's one of the really old last update. That's good. launch this bad boy up. Yeah, I'll leave it in the default location. I'm happy with that. Probably UAC will come up. What do I need from here? Do I need the Bluetooth pair utility? No, I don't need that. Install. There's the UAC. Okay, so let's see what's what. Okay, run driver install. Okay, so we need to install. We need to install the DualShock 3 and 4 drivers ideally. No, just the 3 for now. Not going to install the Bluetooth driver. I'm just going to have it wired. And the PlayStation 3 controller. Gotta make sure you always select the right one. Boom, done. Let's have a look. It will appear there shortly. There we go, it was successful, and we have the controller right here, and I can move it as if it's the actual controller. So now I want to see if this works in the game, in the engine. What game engine are you coding? It's a custom engine, so creating our own engine. Don't seem to be picking it up and working. Okay, that's interesting. So we forgot splash state. It is the right stick we should be checking. We wouldn't know because we're not doing the is complete anyway. So there's no way of actually knowing. So it could have actually been working. Don't know. Can I DM you on socials? If you check on the YouTube channel, actually in the description of the video, there's a Discord. You can join the Discord group and post on there. I feel like the joysticks might be, the axes may be different. I say it's complete as well. We don't want that. We're gonna go back onto the gesture. Are we actually still printing out in here or not? Yeah, we're still printing out, so that means let's do left stick. So again, it could just be different for the right stick. Nope. So we are going to say X, Y. Again, this may not even be connected as number one. That's the other thing. Is connected. It's not connected as number one. Number 0. That's not connected either. Say number 2. Yeah, it's connected as number 2. So it's connected as number 2. Okay, so the left stick still works the same way. Let's confirm the right stick. Yeah, okay, so that still works. It's obviously we just need to PS3 one works. Implement all remaining gestures. No, just the dead zone. Auto detection. I don't know if that's a higher it should be before the other tasks or not. Auto detection of all available and identify them. Store them. Is it a PS3 emulator? No, it's not a PS3 emulator. This isn't an emulator. This is a game engine. I was just testing a PS3 controller on it. Okay, so we're gonna say store or actually no function for checking all connected controllers and getting a list along with the ID. Okay, so I'm gonna disconnect this now. Disconnected. I should not connect via Bluetooth. I did not configure the Bluetooth up, so it shouldn't do, hopefully. Now to check the PS4 controller. For that we need a micro USB cable. Have that here. Okay, so PS4 controller now. Got the light. And let's go into the game. Picked it up. That's all good. Let me see if it's even stick. So it's not number 2. Could it be number 1? Nope, not number 1. I feel like it could probably be number 3. I'm not trying to run any custom games on here. We're creating a game engine to eventually make games, but we're not trying to run anything at the moment. It's not what the purpose of this series is. That's still. Let's launch this up again. Yeah, it's still in there. Doesn't pick it up as 3. Try picking it up as 0. Picks it up as 0 now. Assuming this is the right, device. Let me try doing it as, let's say, number 4. See what happens. well, of course it wasn't going to work if it was 0, because remember I need to change this as well to 0. That's very interesting. The PS4 controller is it detecting X and Y as this. Saying that, you can install it as a DualShock 4 controller. Let me open up the driver install, SCP. It's opening up again just in case that's the way it needs to refresh. Could be that Xbox, is he already picking it up as an Xbox controller? Wireless controller, free? I don't know, it's possible. Is that one? I've disconnected it now. Let's see if the wireless controller is not appearing in here anymore. So that means that will be the PlayStation 4 controller. SCP driver. Okay, so if we go over here, select the wireless controller, install this. It's disappeared from there, which is a good sign as well. You'll come up as an X input now. I want to Google which games actually support, if they support PS4 controllers properly. PC games with PS4 controller support. It's different if you mapped it as an as X input. That's totally different. Okay, so it's picked up as an Xbox controller now, and that's obviously going to run the same way now. So if I was to go over here, I'm going to see if 0 is not connected anymore, so it's something different. Let's try 1. Try clicked 3. I'll do 2 afterwards. Nope. Let's try 2. Feel like it'd probably be index 4, so the 5th controller, 5th. Well, no, it looks like it's number 2, so the 3rd one. Let's test this out. This should work the same way as it was before, as the Xbox controller was. Yes, it does, because it is mapped as an Xbox controller. Okay, so that works fine. So I'm gonna uninstall this driver now. I want it detected as a regular PS4 controller. It does get picked up in the settings, to be fair. Some devices, like some emulators, work with it, some don't. So that's the very interesting thing about it. So we want to put support for it in there. We won't be doing that today. It's just for us to test it and put that on the list of tasks to do. Okay, so this is back to how it was. X and Y, so that is the different rotations. So PS4 controller, and just regular plug and play PS4 controller needs to be updated. I'll put it on the list. Let me test the DualSense controller as well. I need a USB Type-C cable. How much charge my phone got? Phone's got more than enough charge now, so I'll just reuse this cable because it's already out. So, first of all, let's disconnect the DualShock 4 controller. I wonder if they end up renaming the DualSense controller to... It's more than 2 senses, I would say. To DualShock 5. Remember, when PS3 controller came out, it was not called DualShock 3. It was a 6-axis controller without vibration. Then they released one with vibration and they called it DualShock 3. They should do something like that, even though it's got vibration. I mean, the vibration is amazing in here, but they should be like, yeah, it's DualShock 3 now, and then they'll say, okay, this doesn't say DualSense from there. I don't think wireless controller. I don't believe it does. If they release an updated version, they wouldn't have to necessarily put that on there. Okay. On the PS4 controller, did they say anything about DualShock on there? I don't think so. It's almost like Sony knew they was going to release a DualShock and then they changed it after. Okay, so this has basically been detected the same way as the PS4 controller. Let me try something else. Let me try. If I was to run this, is this connected or not? No, this ain't connected. If I go to 0, is this connected? Yes, it's connected at 0. Let me update this to 0. Does the left stick work? I can't remember if I tested the left stick or not, because I think that might still be the same. It's just the right stick is different. Yeah, the left stick is still the same. So that means I think the PS4 will still work as well. I can put this cable away now. But I can't see the right stick working on that one though. You mean, to get the best compatibility, you want to be able to map it as an Xbox controller. But again, that's an external assumption. Obviously, that's the best compatibility from a user's perspective. From a developer's perspective, in terms of maximum compatibility for what we can provide, we need to put in. We need to put support in for it. We're going to identify the different controllers anyway, different controller schemes. So it is just an extension of that stuff. Okay, so let's connect this up. Okay, so let me run this. Let's see if this is connected to. Oh, this is connected to 0. So similar thing. Yes. So if I close it. Yes. Okay. So it's the right analog stick, which has different axes. So got a bit more information right there for this. It's good to know. See if there's any comments. My laptop screen turned off. What graphic card are you using? I'm using an RTX 2080 Ti. Is a PC or PS5 better? I think it depends on what you want it for. The console, especially since PS3, the gap has closed so much, like ridiculously. When you used to play it on like the PS2 era, I think there was more of a noticeable gap, generally speaking, gameplay, into the scale, graphics. But with PS3, closed a fair bit. Like PS4, it started becoming like, okay, it's like PlayStation, like the console were medium settings, and the PCs is high settings. So they're still pretty comparable, but they're not quite there. With the consoles have a little more, jagged artifacts there. They have a bit more aliasing. They need anti-aliasing on there. Now I would say this is closer to the consoles are high setting, and the PC is very high setting. Usually the jump from low to medium in graphics is big. Medium to high is big, but the high to very high, there's a few extra effects. It just looks that a little bit sharper, but not a crazy amount. And I think that's what it is currently. And people say, "Oh, is the PC dead?" No, it ain't. They're just sensational articles, for the clickbait there to get views. It also depends on what you want. If you're just talking about pure what's better, I'd say PC. But to get anything comparable to a console, in terms of frame rate, in terms of graphics, you can spend more than the console. Console generally, obviously, these have been a bit buggy, but you get that with a new console anyway, especially since, say, the newer generation of PS3, PS4, PS5, when there's like this whole idea of updating. Back in the day with PS2, it was what you got. So there was more of an emphasis on making sure it just worked from the start, because otherwise you would have to do a recall, and you don't want to do that. Whereas now they could just do an update depending on what the problem is. So, it depends on what you want. Obviously, you got the Xbox Series X as an alternative as well. I haven't played my Series X in ages. Okay, so test PlayStation controller. I'm going to need to say that. Okay, predefined controller types. PS3 needs X input, so I'm going to put this as a subcategory. PS3 needs X input, so no predefinition required. PS4/PS5 have different axes for. I'm gonna say I'm gonna have to check both different axes. Also, so update for gestures and check all buttons as well to see if they match X input. This is really cool stuff, really enjoying it. So we'll get on to implementing the remaining. We'll do the pre-definition of the controller stuff after. We'll implement all the remaining gestures from tomorrow. We'll implement I can't see them honestly taking too long. We've got a pretty built-in system, decent system. I think we'll have to do a bit of refactoring in terms of, instead of just having gesture patterns like this, we could just have all 8 gesture patterns. I mean, that's a possibility. That's more than a possibility. Or the other option is, what if I did this? What errors will this produce, if any? Yes, it's producing loads. Okay. Yes, that's fine. So left clockwise up. That's not going to work the way I want it to, is it? Let me just build it. Okay, that's built. We'll be wrapping up the stream very, very shortly. I just want to have a look, get some inspiration from the Doom. Let's have a look at the Doom Free GitHub page. Doom Free GitHub BFG. They would have put controller stuff in here. So guess. Let's have a look where it would be. Just look at the code. It is nicely formatted. They do good code. They have that spacing thing that I use as well. I know a lot of people don't like that. I even add it into there as well. See what's in Doom Classic. Anything to do with controller PS3? But is that PS3 controller stuff, or is that PS3 actual for the coding of both? Maybe not that much in here, to be fair. Packets. So it seems like online stuff only by the looks of it. Let's close these down and let's have a look at what each one is saying. Wanted to get some inspiration on some stuff, but so good. Okay, so that is it. I don't think I need to commit to anything else really, because they're just object files. I did change the to do. So to do update. We don't have any releases for this yet. So my plan is, once we are happy that the engine, once we're at a point where either all the features on the to-do list are done or enough. Imagine using AI for gestures. I know, right? Once, if not all the list, or enough of the list that we're going to start making test games, like Pong, Pac-Man, Tetris, those sort of simple games, Arkanoid, Space Invaders, to test the engine. When we're about to do that, we'll per release it'll be like it won't be beta, but it'll be like not even alpha, it'll be pre-alpha. Be a pre-alpha release, like 0.1, and with every mini game that we do, it will be the version will be upgraded a bit, and it will be version, let me think, we'll go to when will we hit beta? We'll probably hit beta, I'd say beta when we've done all the games, all the mini games, and the first major release will be once we release our first game. So that's the release schedule. That's months away, potentially a year or more, but we're slowly going to be working on it, and it's going to be a very a lot of inspiration from the likes of Molly Rocket, which used to be called Handmade Hero. Molly, where is it? Molly Rocket. Molly Rocket. Okay, so yeah, he's been going on for ages. So if you do, say, date oldest first, so when he was doing the Handmade Hero, so that was 6 years ago. So obviously he wouldn't have been doing one every single day for the simple reason there's only 600 days on there. Obviously there's more days than that since then, but he's been doing it hardcore still though, and he's just been slowly getting through it. So what was this one? Implementing the grid.
Hello everyone and welcome to Handmade Hero Show. We code a complete game live on stream. We sketched out a routine yesterday that we want to code today and stuff. Do you know this instruction? So yeah, unless I'm missing something actually true, because who knows. And the people that we care about extracting are the emission, the ref color. We could actually do that at the end though. Try and figure out what would be the efficient way to do it. And when we
there was some gameplay in the low preview that I saw, and I hovered over it. Obviously here is 3D.
We can switch this back on by saying use 4 arrays. And if we take a look at the lighting, there's two things that we're basically working on right now. So we roughly have the effects we want.
That's pretty cool.
Our lighting system CPU side right now, but there's two things I want to do. One is reduce the noise in the sampling, and the other is to just speed it up. Now, it does run 30 frames a second pretty solidly right now, but the problem is I'd rather it ran 60 frames a second because we're going to have more complex geometry in here, and so I don't want something that already can't hit 60 when we're not really using the full geometry. And yeah, we could just do this GPU side, and that would probably get us our frame rate back. But I want to do a CPU side one at least first and prove that that's feasible, because I don't really know how much ray tracing support on cards we're going to be able to count on. Like, it'd be nice to have a fallback plan for if you're running on an iPad or something. Who knows what you want to do. Obviously, I refuse to use Apple hardware now because of their ridiculous policies on not letting programmers distribute programs.
He's one of those type of coders. Very, very like, I'm like this. So yeah, I don't agree with a lot of Apple policies, but you know, it is what it is. And if you want to use it, use it. Okay. So yeah, we will eventually get on to making a game as well. It's going to be a while. If you look at the two, I'll be wrapping up soon. So if you look at it, we're at just the input stuff. Once that input stuff is doing, I think there was some bug here that I got fixed. I don't know, I can't remember what that was. And I think, yeah, obviously got a bunch of GUI stuff as well that we'll be implementing. Updated something else, one of them. Actually, don't need that. That was a mistake that I put in there. And yeah, we'll slowly get through the features and we'll implement everything. Okay, so that is it. Thank you everyone for watching. I will see you all tomorrow for another game engine live stream. I will also be doing a live stream in about, I don't know, 20 or so minutes, where I'll be doing, I don't know if you can see there, so it's hard for you to see. Let me show you. It's pretty cool. My fiance bought this for me. It's not complete yet. It's Lego Star Wars Sith Art. So I've been just live streaming the assembly of it. I did the top section, which is 1, 2, 3 pieces on Sunday. Yesterday I did the bottom section, so 1, 2, 3. Now I mean the middle section, or the bottom currently. Then I'm going to do the bottom section now. That will complete it. Will be the border and the little plaque at the bottom, and I'll actually put it up on that wall as well, so you can see me putting it up on the wall live, and hopefully it all goes well and smooth. Ready for Cyberpunk 2077. I do want to play it, do want to get it. I'm not going to get it yet till the PS5 version of that. I know you'll get a free upgrade for it, but I'm just not going to play till the PS5, you know, version of that. So even if I buy it, I'd rather not play it. so it'd be better if I just wait. When the PS5 upgrade comes out, it is indeed. When the PS5 version comes out, or like the upgrade is available, then I'll probably be able to pick up the game cheap anyway and just do the upgrade. So I do want to play, but I'm going to wait for the upgrade, because what other game did I was going to do that for? There's another game I think the same as well. I wanted another game, but it's not going to be the upgrade. The PS5 version ain't going to be there straight away. I'm like, I'll just wait. So yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm waiting for it, but I'm going to wait till the upgrade is available. So I'll be finishing this off very, very soon. This started it off as Darth Maul. This one is the Darth Maul one that I'm doing. Looks really good when it's looking like obviously small in your view, but it's pretty. It looks slick on the wall. Okay, so that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the Lego live stream. If not, I'll see you on the Sackboy gameplay live stream tomorrow, or on the Game Engine live stream.